I never thought those words would come out of my mouth, the words that would change everything, forever. I'd always envisioned myself as someone who would have kids, eventually. But that moment, standing in our small, cluttered living room, the tension between us thick enough to slice, I told him I wasn't ready for a baby. It wasn't just a casual thought. I had thought about it for weeks, trying to convince myself I could handle it. I loved him, and we'd been together long enough. I knew we were ready for something big. But then I saw a life I had been building with him, and I realized it wasn't the right time. We weren't ready. I wasn't ready. He looked at me with those eyes, the same ones that had melted me when we first met. But now, they seemed so far away, distant, almost cold. He had always been patient with me, always willing to listen when I doubted myself or when I second-guessed things. But today was different. Today, it was as if a switch flipped. I can still feel the coldness in his words. "You're sure about this?" His voice was calm, too calm for my liking. I nodded, my hands trembling slightly as I sat on the edge of the couch, trying to steady myself. The thought of being a mother terrified me, not because I didn't want children, but because I wasn't sure I could do it right. What if I failed? "You know," he began, his voice almost a whisper now, "I thought we were on the same page." I swallowed hard. "We were," I said, though my heart was beginning to race. I need more time. I need to figure out who I am before I become someone's mother." It felt like the right thing to say in that moment, but deep down I knew the truth. I wasn't just scared of motherhood. I was scared of losing myself. I had spent so much of my life getting lost in relationships, in jobs, in expectations. The thought of becoming someone's everything, of being defined by my role as a mother, terrified me. He didn't respond right away, and that silence, the kind that stretches on too long, was what broke me. I could see it on his face. He was hurt, deeply hurt. His jaw tightened, and for the first time in a long time, I saw something flicker behind his eyes, something like betrayal. "I thought we had talked about this," he said slowly, as though weighing every word. "I thought you wanted the same thing. You said we were ready." The weight of his words pressed against me, and I wanted to explain. I wanted to tell him everything that was swirling in my mind, but the words wouldn't come. I had shut myself down so much in the past that now, when it mattered, I couldn't find the courage to speak my truth. "I'm sorry," I whispered, barely above a breath, but the apology felt hollow. It wasn't enough to undo what I had just said. It wasn't enough to fix the rift that had already begun to widen between us. "I thought you wanted this too," he repeated, his voice breaking. "I thought we were on the same path. But now I don't know. It feels like we're standing at a crossroads, and I can't do this anymore. Not if we're not on the same page." I felt my heart sink as his words sank in. The air in the room grew thicker, and I felt as though I couldn't breathe. How could I have said something so final? Why had I made this decision without fully thinking it through? "I need time," I said, though even I knew it was too late for that. The damage was already done. He looked at me for a moment, his eyes searching my face, as though trying to find some part of me that still existed. But it was as if something inside him had already closed off. His eyes hardened, and in that moment I saw the shift. I saw the man I loved and the man I thought I knew begin to retreat. "I don't know if I can wait for you," he said, his voice quieter now, almost too quiet. "I can't keep waiting for you to catch up, to figure things out. We've been talking about this for months, and you've never really been sure. I don't think I can live like that anymore." And then it happened. His words cut deeper than any argument we'd ever had. He turned around, walked to the door, and grabbed his jacket. I wanted to scream. I wanted to beg him to stay, but I didn't. Instead, I sat there, paralyzed, watching him as he made his way toward the door. "I'm sorry," he said again, his voice barely audible. "But I can't do this. Not anymore." The door clicked shut behind him, and the world seemed to stop. The silence that followed was deafening. My heart was pounding in my chest, and I could feel the weight of the emptiness in the room pressing down on me. What had just happened? How had everything unraveled so quickly? I wanted to chase after him. I wanted to stop him, to tell him I didn't mean it, that I was just scared. But the words wouldn't come. Instead, I sat there, alone, in the aftermath of my own decision. Days turned into weeks, and he didn't call. He didn't reach out. It was as if the man I loved had disappeared, leaving nothing behind but the echo of his absence. I had made the decision to tell him I wasn't ready for a baby, and in doing so, I had pushed him away. I had broken something that I wasn't sure could ever be fixed. I tried to move on. I tried to distract myself with work, with friends, with everything I could to fill the emptiness inside, but nothing worked. I couldn't stop thinking about him, about the life we had talked about building together, and now I couldn't even imagine a future without him in it. I spent weeks replaying that conversation in my head, wondering if I had made the wrong choice. But deep down, I knew I had. I had let my fear dictate my actions. I had let my insecurities get the best of me. And now he was gone. Forever. It wasn't until months later, when I saw him at a coffee shop, that I realized just how much I had lost. He looked happy talking to someone else, a new woman. She smiled at him, and he smiled back. And in that moment, I realized something. He had moved on. He had found someone who was ready for the life we had talked about. He had found someone who wasn't afraid. And that's when it hit me. The real regret. I hadn't just lost him. I had lost my chance at the future I thought I was protecting. I had pushed him away when I should have embraced him, flaws and all. I still think about him sometimes. I wonder where he is, what his life looks like now. I wonder if he ever thinks about me, about what could have been. But mostly, I wonder if I'll ever be able to forgive myself for making the choice that tore us apart. I wasn't ready for a baby, but what I didn't realize at the time was that I wasn't ready to lose him either. And now, that's the hardest thing to accept.